Now, one of the things that I'm going to talk to you about today, we're going to go straight into is going to be the sales process. We're going to do a sales process overview. I want to run through really, really quickly with you guys about the sales process. So, how I do it, we've got 8 steps. Okay, number 1 is your meet and greet. Okay, so the number one part of the meet and greet is that you have 7 seconds in which to make your first impression. So that buyer has decided within the first 7 seconds if they like you, if they like your office, if they've made a decision on what you're wearing today, on how you do your hair, the car that you drive. So you got 7 seconds to make an impression. Okay, so if you're on the phone, stand up, smile. It's not so much what you say, it's how you say it. Okay. So you can get the clients excited, walk around your office or your home office or walk down the street, wherever you are. If you're on the phone, stand up, smile, deep breaths, and engage in that conversation. If it is a personal meeting and you're face to face with your client, look them in the eye, shake their hand. You want to put out positive body language. You don't want to come across as a cocky, arrogant know-it-all. You do not want to come across as somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. So you really want to try and get that balance, okay? The second part of the sales process, and anybody who's watched any of my videos prior knows that I am absolutely over the moon with qualification. It is, for me, the biggest area of the sales process. A lot of people like to not skip qualification perhaps, but certainly brush over it and move to the more exciting, juicy part, which is the closing and the showings and the negotiations. In my opinion, if you're not doing the qualification correctly, you will not have as much success in those other areas. You're showing clients homes that are not suitable. You are trying to close clients on a property that they're never going to buy, because you didn't ask the right questions at the start of the process. So when you're getting to the objection handling part, really what you want to be doing is using the qualification questions that you've asked and the information that you've ascertained and reverse that on your client. Why would you like to make an offer on this property? I don't know if I will, Dan. It isn't quite right for me. No. This is the perfect property for you because here's 10 questions that I asked you, and this is the property that ticks all of those boxes. So qualifying is, in my opinion, the most important part of the process. I like to ask my clients a few different things. One of them is the most important thing. What is the most important thing about your purchase? Now, this is going to give you an idea of where the client is coming from, and it'll also help you build a little bit more rapport with that client. It's also going to help you come back with the most important thing when you're closing on a particular property that has the most important thing. The next step is going to be a presentation. I like to take my time with this. Some agents are very much on the opposite side of the spectrum here. It's let's jump in the car, let's go and see this wonderful home. Great. Is that client buying that home? Probably not, because you haven't spent enough time qualifying and you didn't do a presentation test. What I mean by a presentation test is after qualifying a client, I will go back to my database, will provide a group of listings that I feel are suitable, and I'll send them to the client. We'll jump on a Zoom call, we'll go through them together, the husband and wife on the other end of the Zoom call. A few different reasons to segue into this, why this is important, is it builds relevance, it builds confidence in you, and it helps you build and continue your relationship. So we're going through the listings with the client. I may have got it completely wrong, and that's okay, because at this stage, what you're trying to do is you're trying to really understand exactly what it is that the client wants to buy. So with the presentation, the trial presentation especially, or the test presentation, it is going to enable you to check, are you on the right track with this particular client before you do a full scrape from the MLS. If you don't have an MLS, before you talk to 100 different realtors about what's hot at the moment for a 2-bed house between 400 to 500 grand on a 1,000 square meter or quarter-acre lot, for example. Once we've done our test presentation, I like to requalify my clients. And if you nailed it the first time, which does happen, fantastic, you can skip this step. But if not, back to basics. We showed you some homes. You didn't particularly love them. Why didn't you love them? Why weren't you enthused about the homes that I sent across? Let's find out why. We're going to ask you more questions about what didn't you like about that particular home? What would that home have needed to have in order for you to make an offer on it? Why would you not consider that property in and amongst your shortlist, etc.? So the next part of the process is going to be the soft trial and close. And this is a part I like to do in conjunction with the test presentation. We show 4 or 5 properties, and the answer, the question that's coming from that is, which of the properties in a blue sky world could you see yourself making an offer on? Now, what you're doing is you're here. It's quite a sneaky tactic because we're testing the client's real stage in the process. You know, there's the old adage, all buyers are liars. I don't think all of them are. A lot of them do tell a little porcupine once in a while. So I think it is important here to establish where are we on the buying process. So, Mr. Client, I have sent across to you 4 fantastic properties. We went through them together. You love them for X, Y, and Z reasons. Which of these properties could you see yourself making an offer on? The client is going to come back to you and tell you 1, 2, 3, or 4, or none. Or I'm not ready to make an offer yet. So what we're doing again is we're saving a little bit of our time. We've still not yet shown a property to this client. We've now understood and qualified him. We've built some rapport with him. We've done a test presentation with him. We've requalified him if we didn't quite get it right the first time. And now we're going for our soft trial close to really find out, is this a buyer? Hopefully it is. And the buyer will come back and say, number 2 property is what I would love to see, Dan. That's the kind of property that we're in the market to buy right now. So from there, we go forward to the showings and the presentations. It's very, very important with the showing and presentations to be using the FAB style. And the FAB is features and benefits. It has a large kitchen. That is a feature. What is the benefit to a large kitchen? The benefit of a large kitchen is when you have your friends over for a poker night, you can have plenty of room to have a private chef at the back. There is a double garage. The benefit of the double garage is room for all of your toys, somewhere to put the mother-in-law, boys' room, girls' room, double garage, so that in the benefits of those things. So for example, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, this house is perfect for you because it has a double garage. The benefit of the double garage is that when you both separately go to work in the morning and it's raining or cold, you won't have to go outside and get wet. Very, very straightforward. So you don't just focus on the features. A feature without a benefit is effectively useless. So really push those features and benefits and make sure that you're tying those in. Reuse your qualifying questions as well. Oh, Mr. Smith, remember when you said if there was a little bit of a woodland view, that would be a really, really high up on the list of things that you wanted? Wonderful. Here it is. It's right there. Isn't that important to you? The most important thing. The most important thing is, for me, what's going to differentiate each client from the norm, if you like. Everybody's looking for a house, typically in a residential area or in an ROI secondary market. But the most important thing is what's going to stand out to that particular client. So if you can present that with a feature and a benefit on the showing of the house that is effectively perfect for that particular client because you've qualified them properly. We did a trial presentation. We re-qualified that client. We did a soft trial close. And here we are now on our showing and presentation. So we're coming into the juicy end of the sales process. The juicy end of the sales process looks like object handling. So now we are going to handle their objections. And a lot of these objections, it's going to be too expensive. The time isn't right. It's not quite the perfect home for us, etc., etc., etc. Come back to that with your qualifying questions and throw in there the cost of inaction. This is the right home for you. If you're renting, how much money are you going to lose in rent before making this purchase and then saving a little bit of money on your monthly payments? The qualifying questions here are absolutely paramount. And this is why I like to put so much time and effort into it, because You've asked when is the right time to buy. You've asked how much money they want to spend. You've asked what type of product they want to have. You've asked the most important thing in the purchase of the home. And you're going to reuse all of this to handle every single objection that they have. Now we're going to move towards your closing. And I think something that a lot of agents don't do often enough, in my opinion, which is ask for business. And what do I mean by that? So closing, the art of closing can be done many different ways, and everybody has their own style. I personally like to go with an ABC style, which is a always be closing. So that's right from the word, right from the first word. You look at the sales funnel as a corridor, tons of doors on the left and the right, and the one at the bottom has got a dollar sign on it, and that's the sale. That's completing the sale. So you're closing, and what I mean by ABC, always be closing, is as you're leading your client down the corridor, you're closing off doors left and right and left and right and left and right until you get to the end of that corridor, and the only option available for your client is to open the sale door, sign the contract, and live happily ever after. I think asking for business is really important as well, and how you do it, I feel, is equally of importance. Using open questions is a really good way of trying to close and ask for business. One of the ones I gave you guys earlier, which of the properties do you feel is the one you're most likely to make an offer on? I can't say no to that. Instead of, would you like to make an offer on a house? No, thanks for your time, Dan. Cheers. We don't want that. That's absolutely the worst position we can find ourselves in as sales agents. So which of the properties do you think you would like to make an offer on? What else would you like to do or see before making an offer on that property? When do you feel making an offer on this property is going to line up with your buying timeline? Any of these who, what, when, why questions, the W's, those are your open questions, and those are the ones that we're using to close our clients. Okay, so that is an overview of the sales process.